and we'll let people show up. We got a 25-inch breaker bar from Icon, which is a B32, what is that, B325. It's a 25-inch breaker bar. Icon name right there on it. I wanted to compare it to Pittsburgh's 25-inch breaker bar and line them up side by side here, right at the flank, pivot point anyway. Check and see what the difference is. They call this a 25-inch breaker bar here, but if you went from end to end, howdy, if you went to the end of where that breaker bar is at, you can see the anvil coming out of it is a little bit longer in the Icon one. It's a tighter pivot, where the Pittsburgh one is much looser. It's still tight, but it's much looser, and I bought it as a comparison. So you get a little bit more shank coming out of the Icon one. And then you notice it's just a hair longer. So they call this one a 25-inch breaker bar, and they call this one a 25-inch breaker bar. Yet this one's just a little bit shorter. This one is $19.99. It's a great breaker bar. The Pittsburgh breaker bar is a great breaker bar. But the Icon one seems to be much more stout. And the material in the handle, it's a little cheap, but it still feels very comfortable on the Pittsburgh. This one right here feels very, very comfortable when you have the Icon breaker bar in your hand. It feels very, very nice. Now, I was looking at one of these breaker bars on a Snap-on truck, the same design, and I think they wanted something like $175 for the breaker bar. This one was on sale at Harbor Freight for all members. It said $44.50 or $44.50 or something like that for this breaker bar. Let me see. I got questions already, and I haven't got into the video yet. Let me see. Good afternoon, everybody. Hey. Yeah, I feel much better today. Each day that passes is getting less and less sore in the midsection. Off subject, did you get my video on the 2019 3.5 EcoBoost noise? I don't know if I did or not. I'm gonna have to check again. I may have. So I really like this breaker bar, this Icon breaker bar. Let me try to clean this lens for a second. It looks like there's just a tad bit of haze on it. I don't know if it'll clean. I don't know. We'll roll with it. And then I picked up, after about 4 or 5 years of using these universals, I have a good, they're good swivels. Don't get me wrong. The Matco ones, the Mac ones, the Snap-on ones, the Cornwell ones, they seem to last a long time because of how thick and durable they are. Some of them are better than others, but I usually get about 4 or 5 years out of these, and they really start to wear and get sloppy. They look identical to the Snap-on design. They got the same pin in the center here. They got the same collar looking deal and stuff. They're very, very heavy duty. They got a nice feel to them. They're nice and tight, just like the Snap-on ones are. They look pretty much identical to the Snap-on one. Lifetime warranty. And it comes in a kit with the 3/8 one, same design, and you get the 1/2 inch one, same design. What's going on? Okay, so the next thing I was looking for is another ratcheting flex head 1/4 inch drive for like interior work or tight work. And when I picked this up, I felt, man, this thing feels nice. It feels really nice. It feels comfortable. It's got that same type of design when you're getting in close and you ain't got very much room. I normally like to lay my finger off the end of it, and if I got a tight tooth pattern, I barely have to move my hand back and forth, and that will, just that little bit of movement, listen to that real quick. Those teeth are tight. It's a 90 tooth 1/4 inch drive flex head ratchet. Looks pretty much identical to the Snap-on one, and it's super tight. I'll show you the prices here. I got the prices right here, so you guys can know exactly what I paid for them. And each one of these boxes come with these. Looks like one of those cell phone screen cleaning cloths where you can clean it all off. And this is the 1/2-inch drive flex head. You know, this sucker's heavy. It's got some weight to it. That's nice. It's got real nice weight to it. What's going on, Zimmerman? It's tight as well. 90, was it? Yeah, 92. It says right there, 92. Easy to change too. If there's any problems or something like that, you need to service it, but lifetime warranty. Listen to how tight these are. Really nice, great feel. Feels really good in your hand when you're holding it. It doesn't feel like it would hurt if you're having to put, really pull some, like you got a rusted bolt, you got something being stubborn and you're wanting to give it that hand to hell. That right there feels like it wouldn't hurt, wouldn't cut into your hand. It's got that same type of design the Snap-on ones have as it comes up in pivots. It also comes with one of those polishing cloths. This is the 3/8. This is a little bit longer one too, and I was surprised they even had these in stock, because when I've seen before, these sell out quick. These 3/8 drive ones, the flex head, same thing, 90 tooth, really tight. I think it'll be fine over time, but you know what? I'm not really worried about the wear on these, with them having a lifetime warranty. In Harbor Freight, they don't fight you about anything. If you bring it in and you say, hey, look, it's screwed up, they just tell you, go grab another one. They already have your account and everything with them. They don't even fight you on it. Just go grab another one. They just tell you right away. I've done it before. I cracked a big socket I was using on an industrial unit, and I broke all of them. I broke all the big name sockets before, and I was tired of going through them, so I went to Harbor Freight and I picked up, I think it was like a 36 millimeter or something like that, 38 millimeter. And when I picked it up after a year of using it, I cracked it again, just like I've cracked the other ones, because it was a big 3/4 gun that I was using it on. And they just go grab another one right off the shelf. It doesn't matter. They don't ask questions. They literally don't ask questions. There's so many Harbor Freights all over the place. They just tell you, go grab another one. So this one's really nice. The cases are the same as the Snap-on ones. I think they're a little bit nicer. They're a little bit more sleek, the way they look, and soft with the material. Let's see here. We'll move over here to these. This is the 1/2-inch drive. No, 3/8 drive shallow kit. I have a lot of 1/2-inch drive stuff, but I need more 3/8 drive stuff. And I'm really impressed with these. They're set up just like the same design that we have with the Snap-on, where you get that contact area out in the middle, but there's the reliefs in the corner. And these are super, super nice. I like the finish on them. They don't seem like they're very cheap at all. If you needed to grab it while you were trying to, maybe if you broke something loose and it's wanting to rotate with the ratchet, it feels like it's got just the right amount of texture where you just barely have to grab this thing, and it's enough grab to your skin to stop it from rotating on you, where you go ahead and pull it off. I love these sockets from them. They seem like they're very, very high quality. I like the box that it's in. That part is really impressive to me, the fact that they would go back with a really high quality box. A lot of people put them on rails. Some guys like to leave them in their containers. It's very aesthetic. The numbers are really, really large on the box, so it's not hard to see what you're going for at all. Most guys get used to what they're grabbing anyway. They don't need to see the numbers. They just know where to grab their stuff. But it goes all the way from 7 to 19. I'm super impressed with this. Do I do training videos? I'm going to actually start doing training videos. I was actually asked by some private people as well in the community to start doing some training videos. So next week, I'm going to start a series where I actually start teaching people about voltage drops, parasitic draw, amperage draw, resistances, how you can have voltage present but no amperage, and how to find out exactly what's going on, doing different types of load testing and stuff. Maybe some things some people haven't seen before, some tricks of the trade, and the tools that I use in the field every day to find these things out. Some people have asked me to start focusing more on that because there's not enough people on the internet actually focusing on um, electrical testing. A lot of people talk about, going to a computer and doing this and doing that, but they don't really have any real world experience putting their hands on and trying to figure out where you're shorts to ground, where you're short to power, how to isolate a circuit, how to load test a circuit. So that's going to be some of my next block of videos coming up periodically, are going to actually be hands-on how to do that stuff. And I like these, man. These deep. $19 to $7. These are nice. Really nice. I looked up this same set before I got on here. I just went on snapon.com. And I went on there and I put in 7 to 19 3/8 drive. Or no. There was a 3/8 drive or half-inch drive deep impact sockets. And I think just off the website, not the tool truck, one set of these in half-inch drive was $499. And the 3/8 drive one I think was like $350 or $375 for the 3/8 drive version. Now let's get into prices so I can show you exactly what these go for. So the two-piece universal impact joint socket kit right here was $27.99. Those are about, I think this one's about $40 on the Snap-on truck, and the bigger one I think is close to, well, it might be $35-$40, and this is like $50 to $60 for the half-inch drive universal. Here for both of them it was $27.99 for it. Good evening. This I just seen on a Snap-on truck. They had one that looked just like it almost. Obviously it was Snap-on and not Icon. They wanted $125 for this 1/4-inch drive ratchet. This one was $38.99 for this one. This half-inch drive flex head, I looked on there and it was about $165 on the Snap-on truck plus, depending on what type you wanted. And this would be like one of the nicer ones. So this one I picked up for $48.99 for this one. And this would be quadruple that, if not, 4 or 5 times that on a Snap-on truck. This 3/8 drive swivel, it went for $53.99. I picked up the same one from Matco a year ago, and I paid $175 for it. The same one from Snap-on was about $210, and I think Mac was $150, somewhere in there. And you guys know I'm kind of biased to Mac. I really like Mac. I've had very, very good service from Mac. I've always met good dealers from Mac, and their tools have always lasted for me. So I don't want to take anything away from Mac, but I'm going to tell you right now, this is a high quality 3/8 drive 90-tooth ratchet that is just phenomenal. The feel is great. How it sits in your hand, I'm going to work it over the next 2 weeks after I get back, and I'm going to do a review after using these. But this here feels absolutely phenomenal. This 3/8 drive longer flex head ratchet, $53.99. So it's a little bit more than a third to possibly up to 4 or 5 times the price of the tool trucks, and it's lifetime warranty. And this is another one of those situations, you break it, you go right back in, and they just replace it. There's no questions asked. They even have a fixed position, solid 3/8 drive 92 24 karat gold one for $69.99. It's their special edition one, and it comes with a lifetime warranty as well. You break it, anything screwed up on it, they replace it. And it was a box version. I'm thinking about picking up one and giving it away on the channel, but it's a gold 24 karat 3/8 drive 90-tooth non-flex head ratchet, all metal, and it's a very nice slim sleek design. It's $69.99. So I thought, you know what, that'll be one of my giveaways on the channel next. I'll give that away to somebody. These shallow sockets here, what did I pay for those? I paid $42.99 for these. And these were over $200 on the Snap-on truck for the shallow. These here on the truck, I could have swore these were about $350 on the truck for the 7 to 19 impact rated sockets, but on the Snap-on website it's $4.99. This was $52.99 for the 3/8 drive. No, the 1/2 inch drive was $4.99 on the website. So I think the 3/8 is somewhere around $350 or something like that. This is $52.99. So this right here is by far a fraction of the cost. It's the same type of box, the same type of numbering on it, the same type of socket, and I mean, I paid $350 out the door for all this stuff. The breaker bar, and even with the additional one, that's the $350 included. The Pittsburgh one, the Icon one, the Universals, the 1/4 inch drive flex head, the 1/2 inch drive flex head, the 3/8 drive flex head, the short 3/8 impact, and the long 3/8 impact. I still only paid $350 out the door for all this stuff. And what impressed me the most is how they package these things. They really don't want these. Not only do you get the box that it comes with the cleaning cloth and everything else, then you get a regular box that it sits in, and then you get those big, beefy, heavy-duty plastic containers that they hang these up on the wall. So you actually get another storage container. If you wanted to leave it all together, you'd still have a container as well. Maybe if you were a mobile mechanic or something like that, and you wanted your stuff to really be locked up inside the case, you could actually put these back in the box each time, and it wouldn't be that big a deal. I'll pull them out right now. I mean, I'm using one hand, and they got tabs on the bottom that slide into the groove down here. You pop the cover off. And each time you were done with your job, if you wanted to load up and go to the next, without having them, possibly come out of there, the bottom just locks in right here. Again, I'm using one hand. I don't even know if this is the right one that actually goes on. Then throw that in the back of your truck real quick and grab your other one. It's like they wanted this to be secure like Fort Knox, man. If I'd have had two hands, obviously it'd have been a lot faster than that. But if you're looking for part numbers, the shallow sockets are a 12DM-13. The long sockets is a 12S. No, wait a second. Let me try to figure out here if I put them back in the right one. So the deep, shallow. So the deep ones are a 12DM-13, and the shallow is a 12SM-13. I just put them in the wrong container by accident, but they fit. The only thing changes is the insert in the center. And then you got your, which one is this one? This one is the 1/2 inch drive one. Part number for this is R3FG. So the 1/2 inch drive swivel head Icon, basically Snap-on knockoff, is R3FG. And then the 3/8 drive swivel head longer one is a R2LFG. And then the 1/4 inch drive one is a R1FG. And then you have your universal kit here, which is a IA23U2. Premium tray included, they say. Trying to talk up a big game, huh? And then the breaker bar, $64,820 is what this says, but I think the part number is actually right here, like I said in the beginning of the video. Yeah, it's a B325. And that sucker feels heavy too. That's a long breaker bar. If they had a longer one, I would have got it too. Well, that's the review. If y'all want to ask anything else real quick, I can go back to the comments to make sure I didn't miss anything. Good afternoon, Chris. The snap-on adjustable long pliers are made by a European company for decades. Harbor Freight, right? They got them at Harbor Freight. Why does it look like there's a glare? Like I've been putting my greasy fingers over the camera lens. I feel all right, you know. I don't feel too bad. I feel pretty good. Stomach is healing up nicely. I still can't get that damn... I mean, it's going away slowly. It's receding back and it's draining, but that burst blood vessel just popped up out of nowhere. And the only thing I could think of is it was because of having the surgery on Thursday. I was reading online that when people go through like trauma from surgery and stuff like that, and you're getting breathing tubes and everything else shoved in you, these type of things happen sometimes. It's not abnormal. I feel all right so far. So far, so good. Just the bottom of my belly is a little bit sore, but it's healing nicely.
What you doing? You sound tired. You tired?
I'm just going back to the comments real quick.
Okay.
I've had Lon said, I've had the earthquake cordless half-inch impact and have had it for almost 3 years and still going strong with the original battery. And I use it all the time. Yeah, I was looking at the. There's two things I want to get still. They have a. Yeah, these tools here are made in Taiwan, but most tools are actually not even made in the USA. From what I understand, word of mouth is Mac tools for the win. I mean, I like Mac tools. Mac tools is always going to be my favorite tool. It always has been. I like the way they feel. They have a different type of handle. They have a different look to their tools. They don't look like all the other tools. And, you know, it's... I have a bias towards them. So whenever I specify, you know, something, always know that there's probably a bias if it has something to do with Mac tools, because I just like Mac tools. But I definitely will be honest about whether a tool outperforms based on efficiency of how easy it is on your pocket versus the reliability and long-term abuse of using the tool over and over again. So, you know, Stanley Black & Decker owns so many companies out there. There was another creator the other day that put out a bulletin or a picture of the amount of companies that Stanley owns, and I was like, oh my God. It's a whole chart of nothing but all these tool companies that you wouldn't even realize that Stanley literally owns all of them. I'm feeling pretty good. I'm feeling... Knipex are the best pliers that I've ever used in the industry. Knipex are superior to pretty much any plier that I've ever used. What's up, Roger? The earthquake core. So where I was going with that, when I was at Harbor Freight today and I was looking at their electrical stuff, I noticed that all the heavy duty line, the Bauer stuff, their heavy duty red and black kit, this here. So this is the one that came with the drill I bought, but then I looked and there's an upgrade to this. This is what is this? The 2.0 amp hour, I think they called this. The standard one, the 2.0 amp hour. Maybe you guys correct me on that. And it's one of the only ones I've seen in the cheaper line that actually have the battery level of charge built into it, and it comes with a bigger, nicer charger. But they also had a 3.0 amp hour, and then they have an upgrade of a bigger, heavier duty one now. It's called a 5.0 amp hour battery for the Bauer tools, and it is massive. It's not massive to the point where you look at it and you're like, man, I don't want to carry that. It's big. And it's a 5.0 amp hour battery now. And then I checked the earthquake line. They have their 3/4 inch impact. It's their battery operated 3/4 inch impact. It's 1,400 foot-pounds of breakaway torque. And then I think the 1/2 inch drive one is 1,200 foot-pounds of breakaway torque. And they're like $289 for the kit, the battery, and everything. And you go look at the Snap-on one, and they want damn near $700 or $800 for it. Even the Mac branded one is still like a $400 or $500 gun, but then you can get the DeWalt ones that they say are basically compatible with Mac. Like the batteries are the same, but the tool's different. You can take a DeWalt battery and put it on a Mac, and a Mac battery and put it on a DeWalt, but the tool themselves aren't necessarily the same. I've seen the DeWalt ones on sale for $400, but then they actually dropped a sale about 6 months ago where they had the DeWalt like 1,200 foot-pound breakaway 1/2 inch drive battery operated one, and there was a lube tech at work that seen it go on sale, and as soon as it went on sale, he bought the battery, the charger, and the 1/2 inch drive big heavy duty impact from them. I think he paid like $190 for the kit because he caught the sale right at the right time and bought it immediately. So you can get the sales that pop up throughout the year, but the earthquake line seems to be pretty compatible, if not better than most of the ones that are out there. And they're always $289.99, and you can find them on sale sometimes as low as $249 and stuff like that also. And they have bigger batteries and stuff available for them as well. Yeah, Snap-on's dominance has been over. The only thing I really like from Snap-on better than anybody else is Snap-on has superior torque wrenches versus everybody else. I like Snap-on's design with their torque wrenches. They seem to be very, very precision-built torque wrenches, and I love that about them. But when I was at Harbor Freight today, they've stepped it up, and they actually have a nicer torque wrench line now that is by Quinn. They have a 3/8 angle and digital torque wrench. They actually have a longer 1/2 inch drive digital and angle find or angle track torque wrench as well, and they're $179.99 for them. I bought the Snap-on 100th anniversary edition one because it's pretty much superior to any of the other ones. And with as many times as I'm in these engines and stuff, and I'm tearing apart these EcoBoost motors and stuff, I have to be precise with when those cylinder heads go back together. I bought the 100th anniversary edition Snap-on one because of the amount of work I do on these small bore engines and how everything's got to be torqued. So I bought it, and I paid it's like a $640 torque wrench, but I ended up paying like $540 or $560 for it, and they gave it to me on sale, and I got a shirt that went along with it. It was a promotion they were having, so I bought it because I needed one desperately. I was tired of using the old click one, you know, the old mechanical click type spring-loaded one. Oh, I've seen them before. I've checked out Torque Test. I like them. I've seen some of their new stuff that they did on. What was the new one that they did? on the 1-inch. It was the 1-inch heavy duty, like truck gun. It was the IR versus Milwaukee or something like that. And then I seen their new one that they did on the Chief. The Chief long barrel air hammer that came out at Harbor Freight now. It's like their Icon version, but it's called Chief. It's their air tools. They're supposed to be compatible with Snap-on's air tools, and it's their long barrel black heavy duty air hammer. And they said it was phenomenal through all the testing. It's like ranked number 3 out of all the air hammers that they tested, and it's like $130 for the air hammer versus $450 plus from all the other manufacturers. That it was ranked above like Snap-on and all them. So it's I wanted to get one of them as well because I'm going to do a review on that next. And it's a long black barreled air hammer, and it ranked super high. Yeah, I knew it looked familiar to one of them, and I seen it today. They had one on display, but they were all sold out. And then I looked for the Earthquake one, the 1/2-inch drive impact on the shelf, the one for $289.99. That's just their standard price, and I could not find it. Those were all sold out as well. They had 1 or 2 of the 3/4-inch ones that are a couple hundred foot-pounds more, but I didn't want a 3/4 one. I already have a 3/4 gun at work, CP 3/4, massive, big, giant body that a lot of guys complain about the bolts that go through the transit subframe because they rot out in the body and they lock up in there. And that's a huge problem that we're having with these newer transits. You can't get the bolts out of the subframe and you end up breaking them. Sometimes you break them, you either break them or you damage the threads so bad that you actually have to send the vehicle to the body shop to actually have them fix and weld in a whole new section. Where we had that happen on the front of a transit where one of the the subframe mounts, when we went to go spin it out, it didn't just spin out. It took all the threads and everything with it and broke the whole entire assembly up in the front of it. So we had to get a sectioned in piece of manufacturer frame horn with the nut assembly and everything in there, and then send it to the body shop and have them professionally reinstall everything back to spec, just so we could get the customer's vehicle back to them because it was one of their work vehicles. And I took my old CP gun, the 3/4 gun, and everybody was having a hard time. They were bringing all these big giant, Snap-on and Matco and this and that and all these different guns and all this stuff, and they're giving this thing hell, and they couldn't get the bolt to move to budge. It was just, it would move back and forth inside the bushing, but it was locked up in the bushing and it was locked up in the body of the vehicle. I came over there with that CP old 3/4 gun, the big huge housing, big body one that's like the old school design, and I snapped. Relax. Hey. Hey. Come here. Not you. Get over here. Good girl. Good girl. Relax though, okay? Humans. Unknown humans in front of the building. Hey, relax. Chill. Good girl. Thank you for letting us know. Good girl. I snapped the bolt off in the body of the... Not the bolt. I didn't snap the bolt. I snapped the Snap-on extension from 3/4 to 2-inch. I snapped that in half. And then they gave me a new Matco one. I snapped that in half. And then at that point, I was like, boys, I'm either going to snap the bolt or we're going to sit here wasting our time. We're going to have to heat the living piss out of this thing to get it out of here. And we'd already been spraying it and heating it. I said, you're going to have to get out the big torch and you're going to have to get it glowing hot. You're going to ruin the bushing and everything else. There's nothing else once you start snapping tools to get a bolt out, you're at the liquid wrench part of the job. You're going to have to... Yeah, you want to see her? Come here, Pate. Pate. Come here, babe. Come here. Come here. Up, up. Up, up. There's a baby. She's a good girl. She's a good girl. She's a good girl. What is it? What is it? Yep, I agree, Skippy. A lot of them are made in the same places. You know, that's why you see a lot of the same oil filter companies and everybody. They're all owned by the same type of people, just made in different specs. You know, that's just how it is. Yeah, she's got the same beard. She got the same beard. The same beard. She's she'll sit here. She'll just sit here. She's trying to get up on my lap right now. I'm trying to keep her down. I don't want her to get up on my lap with me just having hernia surgery. So, starting to feel a lot better, and she knows it. So she's trying to push it a little bit more. She wants to be on top of me. When I first met her, her mother, she was terrified of me. And within about 15, 20 minutes of me spending some time with her and sitting down on the floor and forgetting about everybody else and just giving her attention, eventually she just kind of realized, this guy's not going to hurt me. He's a good guy. So she just kind of came and fell right over in my lap, and now ever since then it's been like she's my child, man. She cries and whimpers and everything else when one of us aren't here, and she gets so excited, and she has such bad separation anxiety when it comes to her family not being here. It doesn't matter if one person's not here, she's sad. She wants everybody here with her. That's just she doesn't like having not one single family member here. It doesn't feel right to her. If the little one's at her girlfriend's house, you know, hanging out, doing a sleepover, if my girlfriend's not here, if I'm not here, she's not happy. She wants everybody with her in the family all the time, to how she feels the most comfortable. And she'll come over here and she'll check on me, and she'll search the area, then she'll go back to laying down and playing, and she'll come back and she'll look around me again, make sure everything's okay, and then she'll just disappear again. What are you doing? Sounds like your grandma dog. Yeah. They get attached to us, man. They become they're something else. And she'll do this thing like this, where she don't even have to have me petting her. As long as her body's leaned up against me, she feels safe. She'll just stand here and stand here and stand here, just touching me. And she'll just do it. She just, even if I'm not petting her, she just wants to be touching me. Isn't that right? Isn't that right? Isn't that right? She's coming back. She wants to be in the video. Isn't that right? Man, she's a mean squirrel dog. She's a mean squirrel dog and a rat dog. You get a rat or something in the backyard, or a squirrel, it's tearing something up, or like a raccoon or whatever, and she will run that sucker off. Last year was the first time I seen her kill anything. The neighbors leave their garbage out for a long time instead of keeping it nice and secure like us before taking it out. And the rats will come in from like the woods and stuff in the area, and they'll try to search for food around the houses, and they will. She heard one get into the backyard, and as soon as she heard that sound, she took off bolting through the backyard and grabbed that thing, and I'm like, oh no, stop, stop, stop. You know, I felt bad. It made me feel bad, but it's the damn rat at the same time. They're nasty and they tear stuff up. So she's doing her job. She was trying to get them out of her yard, and I'm glad she did, but at the same time it did make me feel bad. And then the thing's like laying there dying, so I'm like trying to figure out, well, You know, give me a board. I'll finish the rest of it and just be done with it. She's a good dog. They bought her from what is it, PetSmart or Petco or something like that. She was an adoption. And when they went to pick her up, they said she was going to be a husky because of the way they kind of seen her breed or something. She ain't a husky. She's like a mix between like a husky, terrier, lab, or whatever. She's extremely fast, really good in water, and she's got a nose, a heavy, heavy nose. And when I say heavy nose, she can put her nose to the ground, and she could follow something forever. Some dogs, they get distracted and they get kind of burnt out by whatever it is that they're searching for. She'll put her nose in the ground and she'll keep it in the ground until she goes. She'll follow it everywhere, like she's some kind of crazy hunting dog. And she's just the right size where she'll barrel down into tight spots and get up underneath trees. And there's a small hole where you can get under the deck, and she'll barrel right underneath that hole, right through the deck, and come back out after she goes all over the place like it's nothing for her. And I'm like, man, doesn't your back hurt? You need a massage or something? Nope, she's fine. That's just what she does. I have a Doberman. I had them since I was a child. They're awesome squirrel hunters. I love Dobermans. We've had a few Dobermans that were really good growing up, but we had two male Dobermans. That, man, the male Dobermans, I almost want to name them Can't Get Right, because if the few that we had were really good, very loyal, very good family dogs. They weren't super aggressive, but they would still protect the house and protect the property. But two of the boy dogs we had, man, I almost wanted to call them Dumb and Dumber. They couldn't get right. Whenever they would run, even after a year old, they would run sideways. They would trip over their own feet. They would fall over stuff. They would barrel into stuff like they didn't know how to stop. And I was like, this is weird, man. And a buddy of mine had expressed that his father was looking for a few real good farm dogs, and we were having a hard time keeping up after them because they would just tear up everything. And they went out to that farm, and it was a man and woman and the cattle and stuff. And that man and woman trained those two dogs to do exactly what they needed them to do on that farm. It was just simply we didn't have enough time to spend with the dogs like they needed. They need attention. They need to run. They need to move. And they became farm dogs, and they do nothing but rove 50 acres of farm and around the cattle area and stuff. And that they keep the place completely safe and clean of all animals and critters. And that became their purpose. They sent us pictures like years later and videos of them doing their work. And the thing with a dog is, a dog needs to know that they have a purpose in your life, or they need to have a purpose for your life. If they're just a dog and they're always just it's just an animal, the dog's never going to feel complete. But if you give a dog a purpose, and you let a dog know that they are part of your life and they're one of the main tools in why your life is the way it is, happiness, recovering from something, whatever it is, their purpose is to guard the house. Their purpose is to protect your property. Their purpose is to herd the animals. Those dogs feel complete. They feel like you've given them a task, not only to love you, but they're your family with a purpose. And I think that's what most dogs really want. They want guidance, and they want people to know, they want to know that they have a purpose. They need to have a working purpose. And it could be as simply just making you a better person, but you need to let them know that. And a lot of people don't do that. I've never had squirrel. I've had other things, but never had squirrel. Just watched my video on the steering wheel holder. What do you mean, steering wheel holder? Am I missing something?
Ow!
Yeah, Red, the females seem to be smarter than the males. For some reason, female Dobermans, we never had, any of our friends never had bad experience with them, and we never had a bad experience with them. But the two young males we had, man, they were not all there. Do I have a tool preference other than tool truck brands? Yeah, I have a feeling it's about to be Icon. Sorry. I have a feeling that that these are probably the nicest non-tool truck tools I've ever had. This Icon line is super nice from Harbor Freight. Picked up an American Bulldog puppy last week. Yeah, I had the true American Bulldog though. I had her for. She was my go-to though, man. It makes me sad even talking about her, and I don't like talking about her on here because I get emotional sometimes. She helped me when I came back from Iraq. She helped me get my mind right. She was the one when I wanted to live out away from everybody with no family, no nothing. Paige was her name. I still have her picture on my toolbox, and she was like one of my lungs, man. That's how close we were together. And everywhere that I would go, she would go. She would come to my work, even my job now. Before I had to put her down, she would come to work with me. She would lay in our break room. She would lay by my toolbox. She had her own bed and stuff. I'd bring her to the dealership with me, and everybody loved her. And she developed a crushed or collapsed disc. The vet he said, I'm pretty sure we can do surgery and fuse the discs together, but she's 13 years old now, and they don't typically live that long anyway. You've got your time out of her. She's given you some really, 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 really good years. She's hurting. She's getting older. She's getting arthritis in her hips. And he said with these bulldogs, don't ever let them sleep on the same side. Dogs get a habit of sleeping on the same leg, the same side all the time, and that pressure where they sleep, you'll start to get calcium buildup on their bones. And then when you run it on an x-ray, it'll look like little hairs and spurs coming off of the bone. It'll look like little fuzzies. And he said that's not good. It's because they favor one hip or one side all the time, and they just constantly lay on it, and there's pressure on it all the time. Just stop them. Kind of encourage them from when they're little to not always lay on the same side when they sleep and they rest. So always, try to get them in the habit of flipping around or move them around or something like that. And it was too late. I let her fall into bad habits and stuff. She laid on the same hip, the same side all the time. She was a very active, very fun dog, very fast dog. And I ended up having to put her down because of how much pain she was in. She eventually got to a point where she couldn't use the bathroom on her own without somebody having to walk her out to the bathroom. And then they said that surgery is about $5,000, and there's no guarantee that it's going to work. We could do surgery right now, but with her age, you may lose her within months. And it's always a gamble. If she was younger, it would be no problem. I wouldn't second guess it at all. $5,000, have her fixed. You might get the same exact time out of her. But unfortunately, it's a call you're going to have to make, and I just don't want her to be in pain anymore. Yeah. So my American Bulldog was the best loyal dog that I've ever had in my life. She was. And then this one came. Then I met her mama. And then this one kind of filled some of the void that me losing my other one. But there'll never be another dog, like that dog in your life. So, yeah, when I took her to the vet, I laid in the room with her on the floor. I actually have an entire video of me going through what I went through. I wanted it as a documentation memory of what it means to me. And I have the entire video of me laying with her, them giving her the injection, the last breaths coming out of her body, and then me just bawling like a baby, and then finding the most perfect spot underneath a tree at her grandma's house where she used to like to lay in the yard all the time. As the sunlight would come between 2 or 3 trees, we'd always have sun in the same spot, and she'd just love to lay in the grass right there. It was her favorite spot in the yard to lay. So I dug about a 4-foot deep hole, about 3 foot wide, and I got her favorite blanket and her toys, and I wrapped her in that, and I buried her, and then I planted some flowers above her, and threw little sparkles and stuff out there in the grass. So whenever the grass is low and the sun hits it, you can see that spot sparkling sometimes because of the little glitter and sparkly stuff like the party favor stuff, and it kind of reminds me of the joy that I had with her. Um, she she was something else. She would see sick kids and she would love up to them. She would see children with disabilities and she would just run and lay on their laps, and I'd take her to Petco and stuff, and uh, they would do trips with kids with disabilities, and I would go sit in front of Petco, and as the disabled kids would walk by, they would get to sit and pet her and just love on her and stuff, and that's the kind of dog she was. Hmm. Yeah. Anyway, uh, yeah, I do. Yep, mine has a little night light. She's got a little solar light with little sparkly lights in it. So at night, whenever it gets, to a certain darkness, it turns on and it just brightens up her little area. Yep. Yeah, I got the call when I was at work, and her grandma was over letting her out, and she called me up and she said, "Daddy, I think it's time." She wouldn't get up this morning to use the bathroom. She wouldn't get up this afternoon to use the bathroom. It was about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and I went in and told my boss, the dealership where I work now, I said, "I got an emergency I got to take care of. I got to go for the afternoon." I just had a brake job left. I said, maybe let one of these other guys do the brake job for me, but I gotta get out of here. And I knew. I cried all the way home. And then I caught the video footage of me pulling up in the driveway and the condition that she was in, where she was trying to be happy laying there, and she was trying to wag her tail, and she was trying to make it seem like she was okay, but she wasn't. She was done. She needed a break. She it was time. That's all. Yeah, it's just like Rain Man. It's that we take it. We don't realize a lot of times. And maybe we think we realize, but we don't realize how much they actually bring joy to our life and how much of a stress relief they actually are for us. They're one of the most underrated things in our life, and they should probably get some of the most respect and attention from us. And we forget sometimes because they're so small, or they're thought of as animals or whatever. But they're come over here, check on me again. Come over here, check on me, and then she'll go. She'll walk away, and she'll come back, and she'll check on me again. She'll just keep doing it until I go sit down in the living room with the family. Uh, Mine saved my life too. Uh, mine literally saved my life. She helped me through a lot of my PTSD episodes. Oh, Charlotte, stop. You're all right. We're not gonna make anybody sad. Yep, mine. Any of my dogs, they're inside now. I don't have them outside anymore. If I had lived out in the country, and I think it was more of a country style life that I lived, um, yeah, the icon review was in the beginning of all this. I think you think when you retire someday you're gonna try to become a Ford mechanic. Well, when you're retired, you're not gonna want to become a Ford mechanic because the first day on the job, you're gonna want to go back to retirement completely away from Ford vehicles. It's not that Ford vehicles are bad. It's any of these new vehicles. They're such a headache, man. I often think to myself to just maybe I just need to go work at my shop doing my thing on older vehicles where I don't have a problem. I have no problem diagnosing or fixing any of the older things. It's so much easier compared to this new stuff that I'm seeing today every day. A lot of this brand new stuff with all these computers on board and the electronics going down and programming and shorts all over the place, and it makes you sick to your stomach. Everything is just consumed by nothing but electronics and computers. And the training is never done. Never done. When you think you're done and you've figured out a system or a high voltage system or a new type of AC system or whatever, there's another training module. There's another computer coming out. There's another type of way to diagnose something. It's exhausting. What are my thoughts on the 10-speed transmission? I hate it. I don't think it's a good idea. I mean, most manufacturers haven't got it figured out, but yet we're still putting out 10-speed transmissions. It's still hunting gears. It's still trying to figure out what the driver wants. It's still trying to sync with driver demand and everything else. What do you need 10 speeds for? Fuel economy. That's it. Don't nobody want 10 speeds. Race car drivers, maybe. I mean, not even that. With 2-speed power glides, the guys are running, what, over 200 mile an hour? Or more? Nah, I mean, 10-speed transmissions are, to me, are a joke. We weren't ready for it, and we're still not ready for it. We still don't have it right. The F-165 guy, what a fruitcake. Yeah, that guy's lost, man. That guy needs to stop attacking people. He needs to stop talking about people sexually. He needs to stop using racial innuendos. There's a lot of stuff people don't know about that guy, man. I did a bunch of research this morning on that guy, and I typed in his name. I only knew his first name, and then I typed in his channel name, and then I did a Google search, and then it took me to an old Twitter or Instagram account. Then I figured out where he lived, the company he worked for, and then I took the company he worked for and put his full name in Google, and I typed that in, and then it brought up all this information about him from prior to 2006 and all the things that he was involved in, and I was like, are you kidding me? This is the same guy that is on the internet attacking people, and then people feel sorry for this guy? I wish I felt comfortable enough to releasing the information that I found on him from prior to right at about 2006 and previous. There's so much stuff that guy was involved in. One incident in particularly where he went up to another man to help him in a parking lot, and he was changing a tire, and he admitted in the video, there's a news, you can't get rid of it. I have it recorded on my phone now. There's a news thing where the reporter went out there to talk to him, and he openly admitted on air, yeah, I went over to help the guy change the tire, and he asked me how much does he owe me for helping him change the tire, and he said his pants were down off of his butt, and the guy was bending over. So F-165's reply to him was, you already paid for it with that peep show you gave me. And the guy busted his head wide open for talking nasty to him like that. And then people wonder who this guy is and how long he's been doing this type of stuff. This guy has been sexually attacking people and saying stuff like that since he was way younger, and people were dealing with him. He's got his head split open for it before him put on the news for him saying stuff and openly saying that he said stuff to people about it and then expecting no return. But yet he's all over social media right now bragging about his life and how all these people are stupid and how the guy's a scumbag, man. The guy literally is a lowlife. He offers nothing to society. Nothing. If you look back at what all he's been doing and all the stuff he's been involved in, look up his name if you guys ever find his name, and go on his old social media accounts and look at all the stuff he used to say about stupid white people And oh, Mike Vick can't do this, but all you white folks out there, you can get away with all this stuff and all this. It's all there. If people know how to do a little bit of research, you can find out how nasty this guy is and the type of person he is just by doing a little bit of research if you really cared to figure out who you were dealing with. Yeah, I've probably answered it 200 times already, Mike. I even answered it in the beginning of this video. I just had surgery on my stomach, hernia surgery last Thursday, and they stuff a feeding tube or a breathing tube and everything else down you, and it was surgery. It was a traumatic surgery, so your body reacts to things different ways, and a blood vessel popped, and it didn't show up for like a day or two, and then it just kind of showed itself right in my eyeball. It's just kind of slowly fading away. No, I'm talking about that F-165 guy. Just like I told him, he's deleted his other videos because he knew how serious I was about attacking me and the sexual things he said about me. He deleted those videos. Now he needs to delete this last video about the timing chain video talking about Semper Fi Mechanic. He put in his thumbnail. He called him a wigger in the thumbnail. And then once he caught wind that I knew about it, and I posted up what he's been doing, he went ahead and deleted the video real quick and then re-uploaded it with a different thumbnail, but still left all the nasty stuff in the video, saying all this derogatory stuff about him because he looks like the type of person that would have a house on wheels, almost if he's white trash or something like that, making all these assumptions about him. He doesn't even know him. He's never talked to him before. If he gets rid of all that nasty stuff that he put out, I'll never say another word about that guy again, and we'll be done. If he doesn't, and it goes another couple days, I'm gonna dump everything that I can on this man. All the sexual stuff that he's done. I've called some people too. I know more about that guy than what he thinks I know. I know a lot of military people. I know a lot of people in the police force. He needs to. He's about to get all his information is about to get released on the internet if he doesn't quit playing games. What are you doing? What are you doing? She come check up on me again. Yeah, I mean, but that's him though. He's a gay black male, and he thinks he can use that to his advantage because social media and mainstream media has made it to where white people are the enemy, white people are the devil. We can't say anything. We can't defend ourselves. We can't be, sadistically comical about anything anymore. And guys like him can get away with it, and they think and they're comfortable saying that it's okay for him to do those kinds of things. It's not. It's not okay for anybody to do that stuff. He plays the race victim card, but he literally is the perpetrator. I mean, if I just find the first video that pops up about him and what he said and did, or what he was trying to come across to this man that he didn't even know, and for him to say the nasty things that he said to him about, don't worry about paying, you just paid by bending over in front of me with your pants and stuff down. That sight alone was enough payment for me. And then he gets his head cracked open for that. But yet people still love him. They still believe in this man. He needs to watch it. He needs to watch himself. Todd, whatever comes up in the stream comes up in the stream, man. That's just how it is.
I've gone home. Where'd you go?
I don't know, Mike, but they did put a new October 28th. They put another service bulletin up. And remember, before I told you guys that it was the 6.2 and the 7.3 was the only ones that they put up about the rear end noise on the new ones. But now, October 28th, they actually updated the 6R100, 250, 21 to 22 model, 6.7s now as well. So now if you're getting a sound coming from the rear end on a newer Super Duty with a 6R100, I think it's like a 373 gear set or something like that. They're actually starting to put stuff out about the diesel now, saying that you're also going to have to change out the counterweight pinion assembly and the pinion seal as well. So they've updated that to now include some of the diesel in that rear end issue. I appreciate it, Red. I'm not back to work. I'm still off. I'm off until Monday. I'm at home. Just kind of putzing around doing things at the house so I can completely heal. What is the ring of metal at the end of the drive shaft connecting into the differential? It's a counterweight assembly. It's to help balance out any imperfections or vibrations, sounds that may come from that rear end. It absorbs some of it. It helps balance it out. It's like a flywheel. It even has holes that are drilled into it for helping with the synchronization or the harmony of the rear end in general. Oh, I know, Todd. I mean, I get it. Well, that wheel that you watched, the first one wobbled. The second one wobbled a little bit, but they're not supposed to be wobbly. They're supposed to be pressed on true and not wobble. It's Dana everything in the Super Duties, I'm pretty sure, because Dana sends us the rear end built completely. Yeah, that's an issue that Ford still doesn't want to recognize completely. Shook is the 19 F-150 VCT solenoid making the ratcheting sound on D-cell. You can get into the throttle and let go, and then get into the throttle and let go, and it'll have a habit of making a ratcheting, like a down. When you come off the throttle, it'll ratchet. And they were saying something about the 17 and 19 models, you could replace the exhaust solenoid or something like that, but they weren't acknowledging it on the 20 model. But I went ahead and ordered it anyway and fixed the customer's exhaust solenoid on the driver's side because I started hearing it before it even set a code. So I just said, give me a solenoid coming. I don't care if it has a TSB or not. Something's wrong with that solenoid. I'm going to replace it. I'm not going to make the customer go through that and then randomly find out on their own that it's a problem. The customer wasn't even acknowledging it yet. They didn't even know that it was a problem. I knew it was a problem though, so I went into parts right away and I said, give me a solenoid. I'm going to replace it while it's here so the guy doesn't have to deal with it down the road. No, I've seen the counterweight assembly on some of the older models as well.
That's it?
Driveline angle? I don't know. It could be. Some people think that it could be. I think it's just a poorly installed counterweight assembly. It's being put together too fast and people aren't setting the right preload and everything on the pinion. So I think a lot of that has to do with it. Not only the counterweight, but pinion preload as well. How long do I wait for the rear diff sealant to dry before I refill with gear oil? It all depends. 45 minutes to an hour if you're using the TA29, the gray stuff. It sets up quick and it starts to dry quick. If you got more time, let it sit there for a couple hours, but it's definitely not a silicone that takes a long time to dry. Why is my Ford truck squeaking when I push it while it's in park? What do you mean, like you're pushing down on the bed? Squeaking? You have to tell me how you're pushing it and where you're pushing it at. Later in it. What did Llama say? Oh. You know, when I push forward from the rear, squeaking sound? I don't know. What could it be? It could be the brake pads are lightly dragging, or it could be a suspension component kind of loading and unloading a little bit because of the way you're pushing it. Go around and spray all your bushings and stuff like that and see if it still does it.
Oh.
Anything anybody else want to cover while we're on here? I'm gonna get off of here. I'm gonna get off if y'all don't want to hear nothing.
Does Peyton have food, honey? Could you feed her? See, I feed you feed Peyton. Because Peyton should feed the cats.
Do I still have the T-Bird? Yeah, I do. I just got to make time for it. I got to put more money and more time away. Once I started seeing some of that stock stuff changing, I'm taking some of my extra money that I had put away for the car, and I'm investing it into stocks. So right now there's a couple stocks that I'm looking at that are pretty promising, and they could pop within the next couple months, like pretty big. So I don't want to spend any money on anything outside of work tools and stuff that I don't have to. Ford sponsors your channel with a new vehicle. What is your first choice? Car, truck, or SUV? Truck. I know it's going to sound silly, but I want a loaded Ford Maverick. Yes, truck and a loaded Ford Maverick. I've had the F-150s, the 250s, the fun race cars and stuff like that. I want to get my hands on one of those Ford Mavericks, man. I'm thinking about buying one. Yeah, please, if you guys haven't hit the like button yet, please do so. That does help out the channel. The T-Bird, I will get around to the T-Bird, but the T-Bird is going to be like I'm thinking something like a turbo 351 or something like that is what I'm going to do with that car. I need to really make time to dedicate on that car and that car only. So I want to get all my other little small stuff done.
Clean my brushes off on my...
Will, you're welcome. I appreciate being here and supporting the channel. That wouldn't be anything with the rear diff. No, by you pushing it from the rear, the little bit of rotation that you get from the diff and the drive shaft, it's going to be minute, because you got to remember that vehicle's sitting on a parking pole, and there's very little room for that to even move at all. So that sound probably not coming from the diff. Although, if you had a two-piece drive shaft, you could have a center carrier bearing that's collapsed or it's dry or starting to get rusty that could make some kind of noise as well. So you might want to get up underneath there and spray that carrier bearing if you have a two-piece drive shaft.
We rented it for $9.
Wow, that's a lot of money for renting.
Yeah, at least got something.
Nope, we've almost seen no issues with the Rangers at all. We replaced a couple HVAC boxes for doors that were hanging up in the HVAC boxes, but the Rangers don't give us no problem. People love them. They got a lot of power. They're pretty roomy for what they are. They look nice. The Ranger so far has been a pretty good hit for us. So
Hey, it was on sale. If it wasn't on sale, it'd be $12.
Dang, that's a whole lot.
So would you rather do...
you have an F-150, you want to get an F-250? I would suggest getting an F-250. If you don't do a lot of towing and you're looking for reliability, something still got decent power, that's pretty heavy duty, but just tried, true, and tested, I would look for a 6.2 liter F-250. They're very reliable, very cheap to maintain in the grand aspect of maintenance, and they don't have a lot of problems at all. I seen a 2011 Raptor, SVT Raptor today at Harbor Freight, and the man was coming out in like military or like OD green clothes, like tactical clothes, He's a big old buff dude, like he's in some kind of SWAT team or something like that. And he looked like one of the special forces guys, like in the military. Big old round muscles and burly chest and stuff, but kind of thin at the same time. Probably every bit of 155 pounds or 185 pounds, but I'm talking built. He looked like a military guy. And he came out and he remote started that truck. And I looked at it and I was like, man, that is a gorgeous truck. How many miles you got on that thing? He said 50,000. So was that like a 14-ish model? And he said 2011, first year for that truck. And it's a 6.2 liter. I said, I know it's a 6.2 liter. I said, it's a gorgeous truck, man. So would you sell that truck? And he says, nope, you won't. That's the only Ford I'll own right there. It's a 6.2 liter Raptor or F-150 body. It'll be a platinum edition or a limited edition or a Raptor F-150 with a 6.2. It's a nice truck. Shook, super chat donation. Appreciate that, man. Really appreciate that. Thank you, Shook. I appreciate that, man. Do I know why the 2016 Focus has a rattle when you release the clutch? Been like this since new. You can barely hear. Yeah. They're noisy. They're not a very good design. Throwout bearing. If you just push the clutch just a little bit, does the noise go away? If the answer is yes to that, then there's probably some kind of throwout bearing issue.
Jenna?
Mike, I appreciate the super chat. Always appreciated. Transmission mount? Yeah, I mean it could be. It could be any kind of mount, but I don't know why this looks blurry, almost as if the camera or something's dirty. Or maybe this is starting to affect my eye a little bit. What are you doing? She come back again.
She's so happy to get food.
Well, she keeps making these rounds where she'll go in there with you guys, and then she'll hang out, and then she comes in here and she's like, "Hey, you okay?" And then she goes back in there, and then she comes back.
Silly baby.
Yeah, the new Ranger is kind of big compared to the old Ranger, so it does have some nice size to it. That's kind of why I do like it, though. It's not quite the size of an F-150, but it does have some nice size for what you're getting. Pre-11 Ranger crazy, like the 4-liter. I love the 4-liter. A lot of people had the 3-liters, and they were great. They were like little tanks, but the 4-liter pre-11 Ranger, I mean, I really, really like those. I've been passing a Velociraptor Hennessy 600 horsepower truck on the way. Yeah, there was a lady that she traded in her Shelby Raptor or something like that from South Carolina. It's a 70-some or 80-some $1,000 truck. No, it wasn't. It was a $100-some $1,000 truck, and it only had like 30,000 miles on it. And we had one of the Hennessy edition F-150s come in, the 600 horsepower ones. Hers made 150 horsepower more, and it was more valuable, but she liked the blue Hennessy edition one better. So she traded it in, paid a salesman an extra $1,400 to take 3 days to go down there, pick it up, and drive hers back, and drop the Hennessy off, and lost money on the deal because she really loved that blue Hennessy edition F-150. There's a lady, she's crazy about special edition Ford trucks. That's what she wanted. She lost a ton of money on the deal and then paid somebody cash to take 3 days to drive one down there and pick one up. I have Milwaukee Fuel cordless tools. They're my go-to. They're my favorite. No, I didn't get my eye check. I know what it is. I've had these types of things before after surgery pop up. There's nothing the doctor will do anyway. They just tell you it drains back on its own. I feel all right. I feel all right. I appreciate it. "2010 Focus. You replaced the passenger side hub bearing because it makes a typical bearing noise but no difference. Is there a bearing on the output shaft of the tranny that... I mean, there... So you have a shaft coming from one side of the transmission over to the driver wheel, and then you have another shaft going over to the passenger wheel. And some of those shafts have a center bearing with a center bearing support that do make noise. And they do howl and squeal and everything. It sounds just like a wheel bearing. I've done plenty of them on like the Escapes and stuff. When they come out of the transmission, they'll clip in, and then there's two 13mm bolts that hold it to the back of the block, and then it comes out the other side
That's what you want.
into the hub assembly. And they do will squeal and make grinding noise and everything else, just like a wheel bearing will. Dual paw or single paw? I have no idea. I mean, I don't know a lot about like how to look into tools and like quality, like when it comes to like what you're talking about design wise. Is there a way without me taking this apart to find out? I mean, it's set up, looks just like the Snap-on one. Super tight, a lot of teeth. So I'm not sure. I don't take them apart like that. I use them. Yeah, I don't know, Mark. I couldn't tell you. Hey, what are you doing? Pate, what are you doing? All right, that's it for me, guys. Again, y'all have a great night. I'm gonna get out of here. What's my opinion? What's my opinion on Ford online training? I was doing one, the CAN network, and there's a lot of repeat questions. It's training that's going to really help you understand the system. There's a lot of repeat, but I'm not going to say anything else about this the online training. Let's leave it at that. I don't want to critique how the corporation themselves does what they do. That could get me in trouble. So I could talk about the product, but I'm not going to talk about how they do their training and stuff like that. It's something I don't want to get into. It's not a good idea for me. All right, Rayman, thank you for being here. If you guys haven't checked out his channel, which I'm pretty sure you have, because like I don't know how he's hitting the algorithm, but lately he's blowing up like a damn hot air balloon. Up, 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 up. I remember when Ray had like, what was it, 10 or 15,000 subscribers, and I looked like a month or two later, and then he was at like 30,000 subscribers. And then I looked the other day, and I said, man, this dude's way over 70,000 subscribers now. And then I looked, videos are blowing up. He knows how to hit that algorithm. Ray knows how to hit that algorithm. I wish he'd teach some of us how to hit that algorithm. Anyway, y'all have a great night. Be blessed. As always, like I say, be blessed. And Ray doesn't put out a lot of videos, though. I put out a lot of videos. Ray doesn't put out a lot of videos. He puts out very strategically placed, in-depth, well-explained, very educated videos. You know, when he puts it out, I think he's strategically thinking about what he's doing when he does it. He knows how to do it. Hit that like button, guys. Thank you. Good night, guys. Yeah, I think it's the phone in your shop. I hear that phone go off a lot. Y'all have a good night.